Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to do a video that was requested by a viewer. She wanted me to compare white gel pens. I'm also comparing white paint pens, and I hope you'll stay tuned. Well, the people at Chocola sent me a set of these markers from their brand called Funcils. And I thought, well, what better way to try them out than to compare them with all the other ones I have. And as you know, I'm kind of a hoarder of all kinds of tools. And one of the tools I clearly like are white pens. I had more, but I narrowed it down to these. Now I want to tell you, first of all, some tips about the gel pens. If you have a gel pen and it's a little bit older, like let's say a couple years, the chances of it working really well is not as good as if it's new. So I'll show you that as we go. And the other thing I wanted to tell you about gel pens is sometimes your gel pen won't start flowing ink at all, and you need to put it on your hand. Put the tip of the nib on your hand and just let it sit there to absorb the warmth of your body. And you'll know if it's working if when you move it back and forth, you start to get ink. And this one is not. This is a Ranger pen that I'll get into a little bit more detail on in a minute. But let me tell you the other way that you can try to get a pen that doesn't work to work. You can take a match, and I'm not going to light it for you, but you can take a match and light it and hold it above your tip, not right on it, but above it, so that it puts some significant heat on your tip. Don't use the pen immediately after taking it away, because if you do, this little ball will just melt and fall out. Ask me how I know. You know how I know. I've done it before. So you want to, if you do take that chance with putting a match and rubbing it above it, you want to make sure you wait for it to cool a little bit, and then you can rub it on your finger, or if it still doesn't work, you could scribble it on paper, and if that doesn't work, then I think it goes in the trash. Sorry to tell you. So let me go over the pens we're going to compare today. We're going to go with the Sakura Jelly Roll pen, which looks like this. The Uniball pen, made by Signo. I should have put that on there. Instead I just put the number UM153. The Ranger pen that you've already heard all about. The Sharpie. We're going to get into markers now. A brand called, I think it's pronounced, well, I'm going to spell it. I'm not going to pronounce it because you know I won't be able to say it right. N-I-U-T-O-P. It's a paint marker. Then one from Pen Touch. One from Posca. That's 0.7 millimeter. The reason I'm telling you that is I know Posca comes in a lot of different sizes. Arteza. And the Arteza one came in this set of 20 paint markers. And then lastly would be the Funcils that we're going to play with. I'm going to play with these on two different colors of papers, a gray and a black. The reason is because the gray is lighter, but it still shows up with the white. I'm hoping you can see that. The white shows up on it, and because it's a colored paper, I know we use a variety of colors with white inks. We like to try them out on different colored cardstock, so I just wanted to show you on a lighter color that is still dark enough that the white shows up on, and the black. So hopefully that made sense. I thought what I would do is use each pen, and when I get to the paint markers, I'm going to read the directions on each of those. To be fair and honest with you, I did have more of the gel pens, but the ones I had no longer worked, and I didn't think it was fair to use an old pen that didn't work and try to get it to, you know, be compared to other pens. It just didn't seem fair. This is the Jelly Roll, and it's by Sakura, and this is a 08 is the number on it. And I'm just going to write their names below so you can see me writing with them, and you can see how they flow. This is a newer pen. I did have an older one that I was going to show you the difference on, but I don't know where that one went, sadly. You can see this flows nicely. It doesn't have skips. You'll notice a difference between that and some of the other ones in a second. The Uniball, I swore I had two of those Uniball ones, but I don't know where it, oh, there it is maybe. Here it is. I did have an older one and a newer one, and we'll see which one this one is. This is the older one. And the way you can tell which one's older and which one's newer is it starts to have like, let me see if I can get it to come out. Okay, well, it's not going to work at all. What happens is you start to have what looks like the pen tip in the middle of the letter. I'll hold it up so you can hopefully see this. It's like the pen tip scrapes away the ink in the center. See in the middle of the U how the center of it is black? That's because the ink is starting to not fill the nib. Now this is the newer one. This is a UM153. All gel pens that I've ever used have this problem when they get older. And I wanted to show you that. And like I said, I thought I had one of the older Jelly Rolls because they all do it, for me at least. And you can see the new one performs perfectly. The old one, not so much. But that's indicative of how it works when you have these kinds of pens. So then let me show you, well, as much as I can show you of the Ranger. I have two Ranger pens because I bought them at different times. To be fair, oh, I wanted to write it on that other, the Uniball on that other color too. It writes just as cleanly on the gray as it did on the black. You'll always have a lighter look on lighter cardstock, just the way it works, in my opinion. Maybe not, but in my opinion, that's how it works. Okay, I'm going to show you my two Rangers. I had bought one a while ago, and I thought, well, the reason that one didn't work is because it was too old. So I got another one. I'm just going to say, if I was in your shoes and you have a chance to buy Ranger products, I would not waste my money on these pens. The word Ranger that I wrote here and here, I wrote with a different pen because I never got either one to do anything. Even after, I don't know which, if you can see on one of these, I used the match on one of these. I was like, come on, you've got to be able to work. And if you can see, this is the saddest part of all. Let's see if I'll put it up on black if you can see it. They both have exactly the same amount of ink in them. Can you see where the white stops right there? Isn't that annoying? I'm just saying. Don't waste your money on these, in my opinion. They just don't do much. So, oh, I just threw those in the trash for you. Then the next one that I found to be a disappointment is the Sharpie White Paint. Well, it's an oil-based paint pen. It's an extra fine point, and I'm going to, with each of these markers, I'm going to read the directions and follow them with you so that you know that I have made sure I followed it to the T. This one says, remove the cap. With the marker tip in the up position, depress the point with your finger. Oh, I remember when I played with this yesterday. I was like, what do you mean depress it with my finger? Let me tell you, that isn't fun to do, but I'm doing it for you. Then, after you depress it with your finger, you recap it and shake well. Why I had to do that with my finger, I don't know. But That's what you're supposed to do. And it's a metal tip, so it really kind of hurts. Okay. Then it says recap and shake well to mix. Depress the marker point several times on a surface to saturate the ink. Oh, and now I'm getting the big gob of ink out because you always should do that on another piece of paper. I just thought I'd tell you that. Let's see what we get out of it. This is exactly what happened to me yesterday. The ink comes out, but you can't really see it. It's almost like a shadow. Can you see that? Let me try it on this one. I'll push it down again because why not? Oh, we'll just get another big glob of ink. And then the pen itself doesn't do anything. Can you see that? It just is leaving. It's clear there's ink in there because I got a lot out of it, but it doesn't do anything. So, total disappointment, the Sharpie. And this was, if I didn't say it is, I was going to tell you the size of the nib. I guess it's just extra fine point. Disappointment. Then we're going to go with the NIUTOP. And it says, put the tip up, shake the marker up and down with the cap on for about 20 times. Okay. And then remove the cap and gently press the nib up and down against a separate piece of paper. See how they tell you a separate piece of paper so that you don't have the problem that we had with the Sharpie. The thing I didn't like about this when I used this yesterday is, I don't know if you can see that when I did the N, I got little teeny tiny spray of ink. Can you see that in the bottom of the N? Maybe I can do it bigger. There, you can see it better. See in the inside of the bottom of the N how I have all those little dots of color? I don't know if it's the way I hold them, but if I go slower, I don't have the problem. The other thing I noticed about this tip is it's hard to make a rounded letter. It seems like when you make the rounded letters, they either look more pointy, like this looks more like a V, or they get that little, the spray on it. I'll do it on the other sheet. I don't remember where I bought this marker. I just thought I would show you and tell you about everything in case one of them really screams your name. This one is, it's water-based, it's an opaque ink, it's non-toxic, and it has an extra fine point. If you hear some panting, it's not me, it's my dog. I think Bella came in to see what I'm doing. So, there is the NIUTOP. Clearly can't say it. Next one is the Pen Touch. It's a fine point 1.0 millimeter and it's a quick dry permanent opaque marker. Okay, shake well with the cap with the nib up, pressing the nib to release internal pressure. I'm going to shake it first. Now with this up, we're going to push down on it to release the internal pressure. So I did that. That kind of hurts. I don't know why they make you do that. And then to write, press nib down until the ink flows. Do not over pump. Cap tightly. Sorry. Store horizontally. Okay. If you didn't know this about markers, you should always store your markers this way instead of like this, because it makes the ink stay where you want it to stay, I guess, in the marker. Okay, well, I'm depressing it several times to get the ink flowing as they told me to. Well, let's see if I can get it to put a blob out, and then we'll know there's ink in it. I haven't used these markers, but I have had them for a couple years, and so when that happens, let's see if it works. Okay, there we go. Good work, Pen Touch. 1.0 millimeter. Wow, when it starts to work, it really does a nice job. Extra fine. Yeah, I like that one. Took me a while to get it going, but now that it's going, I like it. Okay, next up is the Posca. The Posca pens come in a variety of size nibs. Mine is 0.7 millimeters. And if you've ever watched artists who use black or white inks to outline their watercolors, a lot of times they use Posca pens. I'm going to turn this a little sideways because I'm afraid that ink is still wet. I didn't do anything to this one because I have used it before. And they call it a uni Posca. 0.7 mm. And all the writing on this is in Mandarin, so unfortunately I can't tell you anything other than the 0.7 millimeters. And we'll go to the gray paper. Should be dry enough now. Okay, next up is called the Arteza Paint Marker. Oh, I'll read the directions again for you. Oh, there aren't any directions. Oh, yeah, they are. Shake, pump it 3 times. Oh, again with my finger. Geez, I've never noticed that in anything before, that you had to use your finger. You're supposed to shake it, then pump it 3 times, then push down, and then write. All right. Okay. Then we're going to pump it 1, 2, 3 times. That was fun. Sticky and kind of hard on my thumb. Then you're supposed to push it down. So you're sure you got it flowing. Okay, now I definitely have it flowing. Wow. I am not loving this at all. It really, it's more like paint than anything else. I'm talking like paint that isn't spreadable. It's more like you would use with a brush. It doesn't seem to want to do what I want it to do. Let's see if I'll get this out of the way so that we can. You can see, let me see if I can get it straight up and down if it makes a difference. I don't normally hold anything straight up and down because of the way my wrists are. So maybe some of this is user error, but I'm holding this straight up and down, and you can see the nib is so thick that it makes it almost impossible to get a nice clean letter. You know what I mean? Like when you try to get an A out of it, it's kind of, it's almost too paint-like to do that. So that is the Arteza one. Kind of a disappointment. Again, this could be because this is an older marker, and it could be that the nib is kind of dried out and trying to re-wet itself, that it doesn't have the ability to do that well. I don't know. I don't want to immediately say these markers are terrible because, like I said, this set I know I've had for at least 2 or 3 years. Last but not least is the set from Funcils. Now, when I got this set, I was so tickled because of all the different sizes of nibs. And I'm going to start, we're going to go smallest to largest. The smallest nib on this, and this is made by Chocola, and everyone should know that company. Shake well with cap on and pointing up for 30 seconds. Pointing up. I'm going to do that with all of them at once so that we can avoid having to shake everything for 30 seconds. Ready? We're going to call that 30 seconds. All right. Then you're going to push the nib slightly to release any air pressure. Okay, I'm going to push it. You're going to push it slightly to the side is the way they show it. And then you're going to push the tip 2 or 3 times to get the ink flowing. We're going to really hold it down to make sure the ink is flowing. All right. This is, I'm looking for the nib, 1 millimeter. Let's see it on the gray paper. This is a lot easier to write with for me than the last one we used. Could be because the nib is so small, but even with the other little nibs, it wasn't hard to use. Okay, next size nib is 3 millimeters. Where's that 0.3? Again, the eyes. Nope, just 3. And I should push it to the side to release the pressure. And then we're going to push it down to get the ink flowing. What did I say that was? 3 millimeter. Okay, that's the 3. Next one is 6 millimeters. Stuck to the ink from the last one. Now this one kind of fades out into that gray. Let's see what it does with the black. Don't see it fading on the black, but it's kind of weird that it faded like that on the white. Next up, now these are really fun. Wait till you see the size of these bad boys. This one is 10 millimeters. Now this is not to be writing on a small piece of paper like this. And I'm gonna, once I get it going. Oh, I forgot to push it to the side. Push it to the side to release the pressure. The other ones I had used before and played with. This one I had not, so it's going to take a while for that ink to get into that huge nib. So I'm going to let you see real time how long it takes. The other thing about some of these is that they have reversible nibs. I read that in the information. I thought that was really nice. I can see the ink starting to come up into the top. All the other markers I use today, I have used in the past, I'm pretty sure. Unless I said differently, because now at this point, I think I've got brain fade from too many markers trying to figure out what I did with them. Okay, almost all the way inked up. Okay, here we go. I'm just using the very edge of this because it's such a big tip. And then I'll do it on the other side on the back of one of these pieces of paper so you can see just how big that nib is. It's big. This would be really handy if you were using it on like garage sale posters or posters for your kids for school. Okay, I'm going to show you. This is, I'm writing on the side again, 10. Because this isn't the biggest one. This is the biggest one. It is 15 millimeters. Look at the size of that. Is that fun or what? And I did play with this one yesterday, so I know it should be ready to go. All right, I'm just going to make the line. And I'm going to write 15 millimeters. Tell me that isn't the biggest. I've never had a marker that wrote that big of a mark. I loved it. I thought that was the coolest thing. Because, you know, I love tools. You know that. I'm turning this on its side to see if I can write Funcil 15 on the bottom of this paper. It's hard to write with in a small space with this. Let me flip it over, and I am just using the very littlest of this head to write with, but truly it's that big. All right, let's kind of go over everything and talk through each product and what I did or did not like about them. I'm going to use the black paper because I think it's easiest to see on. If I was going to buy any pens, gel pens in white going forward, I would only buy 2 brands, and that would be the Sakura Jelly Roll number 8 or the Uniball UM153. And again, if you've had them for a while and they stop performing for you, it's time to get a new one. If you've tried using it on your hand and if that didn't work, and if you've tried the match and that didn't work, you could also use your heat tool that you use for embossing and maybe wave it around in the hot air that comes out of that, or your hair dryer, and just to get the nib warmed up and see if that works. If it doesn't work, then clearly it's time for a new pen. But both of those pens I thought performed well. Of the 2 of them, the Uniball, in my opinion, and it's not based on anything other than my opinion, I swear it seems darker to me, brighter than the Jelly Roll. I'm trying to find my Jelly Roll, and I'm going to see if I can. Oh, that was the old one I was looking for. Remember I said I thought I had an old one? This is it. And it does, let me see if I can get it to write anything. It does the same thing as the other one. The middle of everything you write is still black because the pen stops being effective. Don't know why, they just do. Okay, here is the new one. I'm going to write more toward the bottom here so we can compare them. Okay, that's how bright the Jelly Roll is. Now let's try the Uniball. Maybe I should write the same words and see if that helps. I'm going to use, this is the Jelly Roll. And then this is the Uniball, right? I want to make sure I say the right thing. Yes. Well, now it's funny. Now to me, the Jelly Roll looks darker than the Uniball. And on the first one, when I did this, I thought the Jelly Roll was more muted than the Uniball. But now that I've done it again, it appears that the Jelly Roll is darker than the Uniball. It's a crapshoot, apparently, of which one is brighter than the other one. The Ranger pen, as I said, don't buy it. I had 2 of them. Neither one ever performed. Neither one ever made me happy, and I wouldn't waste your money on it. But that's my opinion. As I said before, the Sharpie, I couldn't get to do anything. I did everything they told us to do, and it still comes out like it's invisible ink. You get ink to come out of it. I don't know if you can see the lines I just made with it, but it doesn't seem to leave any lasting ink behind it. I don't know why that is, because I can see the ink when I push down on the nib. There, I got a big glob of it again. But I can't get it to continuously give me ink, so I'm calling that one a dog too. Again, it could just be me. Then the next one is the NIU Top. and I like this one. After we got it going, I think it does a nice job. It's bright. It does a nice job. Then the Pen Touch also does a nice job once you get it going. This one is a little stiffer than the other one, you know, when you're trying to get curves in small spaces. It's a little bit tighter. Let me see if it's 1 millimeter. I wrote that up there. Let me see if the new top has a number of millimeters on it. No, doesn't tell me that. The Arteza, as I said, this one had problems, but I'm not ruling out that that this nib isn't contaminated from when I used it before, and that maybe it's full of paint and it can't release the paint in the right way now. So don't rule that out because of me. I would say try it and see for yourself, because as I said, I've had this set for at least a couple of years, and I wouldn't want anybody to not try it because of maybe me using an old marker. The Posca, I missed that one. The Posca pen I really like. There's a reason that people use them to surround their watercolors. It's just it's a pen that is just I think proven, and these come in a variety of nib sizes, and as I said, mine's 0.7 millimeters. Then the Funcils, what's there to say other than they were seriously fun. Every one of them does as nice a job as the one before it. The thing that I did notice about it versus like the Pen Touch, hopefully I'm in screen. The Pen Touch and the Posca are more of a white, and this is more it almost to me looks like when you use chalk paint. It's a little bit chalkier looking to me, but that just could be, you know, the way I look at things. Let me see if I use the smallest one and I put it beside the NIUTOP and the Pen Touch. Let's see, and the Posca. Let's see if there's, you know, if it's more muted. Yeah, see in the difference with how bright it is compared to this. Same with the Pen Touch. Although the Posca, it seems it's pretty similar. The Posca is a little bit brighter, but it's similar to that. So with that being said, I really had fun doing this comparison, and hope it gave you guys some ideas about which pens work, which pens don't, and that if you ever have any ideas of videos you'd like me to cover, that you'll offer up an idea, because I'm always looking for new ideas to cover, and this was a fun one. Hope you enjoyed this, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media, because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.